Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about Python strings. This is an beginners to advanced tutorial. By the end of this video, you'll be able to understand everything about strings in Python. So strings in Python are surrounded by either single quotes or double quotes. Anything is allowed. So as you can see here, I am printing hello world in both the ways using single quotes and double quotes, and both ways are correct to define a string in Python. Now suppose if you want to assign a string to a variable, then you have to define the variable like this: variable name equals then the string. String can be in the single quotes or double quotes, anything is allowed. And as you can see, it prints that particular string for you. Here I can use double quotes as well, and it will print the same for me. So this is how you assign a string to a variable. Now let's take a look at how to define a multi-line string. For defining a multi-line string, you have to enclose the string in the three quotes. It can be a single quote or it can be a double quote. Anything is allowed. Once you enclose your string inside the quotes, it will print a multi-line string for you like this. Here I can use a single quotes as well, and it will print the same for me, as you can see. So this is how you define a multi-line string. Next is checking if substring is present in a string. Now suppose you have this string and you want to check if a particular word or a letter is present inside that string, then you can use if a substring is present in that string, then it will print substring is present. In this case, the best is present inside this string, so it will print as substring present, as you can see here. Suppose instead of best I write here good, which is not present inside the string, then it will not print anything for me, as you can see. Suppose if I want to check if any letter is present, then I will simply put that letter, then I will print it, and you can see substring is present because the T is present inside the string. So this is how you check if the substring is present inside a string. Now let's take a look at how to slice a string. Suppose if you have a string called hello world, and if you want to print only some part of the string, so in this case you do slicing of the string. So in this case I have written s of 2:6. That means it will include the element which is present at this index and up to the element which is present at this index. So it will not include this index. So in this case it will include only from 2 to 5. So here in our string, this is 0, 1, 2. So it will start from this L and 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will print till this comma. As you can see in this output, it is printing this from this L to this comma, since it is 2 to 6. Now suppose if I want to print a string starting from a particular index, then in this case I'll just do 2:empty. In this case it will start printing from this L up to the last index of the string. So in this case, as you can see, from this L it prints until the last index of the string. Suppose if you want to print until a particular index, then in this case you have to do that by entering on the right hand side of that colon. So in this case it will print until the 6th index, it will not include the 7th index, and it will print until this space. As you can see, it included this space and it prints hello. So this is how the slicing works, and there is a negative indexing as well in the slicing. Now suppose if you want to print from the fifth last element to the second last element, so in this case fifth last element is this O and the second last element is this D. So in this case it will print from O to D, as you can see in the result. As I said, it will not include the element which is present on the right hand side. That's why it is not printing this D. So this is how slicing in the string works. Now let's take a look at how to do the uppercase and lowercase of the string. For doing the uppercase and lowercase, there are two functions, that is string.upper and string.lower. So in this case, if I print this, as you can see, the first one, string.upper, will uppercase entire string, and the second is string.lower will lowercase the entire string. So this is how you can do the uppercase and the lowercase of the string. Now let's take a look at how to replace strings. So for replacing the string, you have this string.replace method, and in this case I am replacing capital H by small h in this string, so it will print hello world, and hello h will be small. As you can see, if I print this, the h becomes lowercase since I am using here as small h. If I replace it by some other letter, it will replace that particular h by y. As you can see, it prints yellow world. Suppose if I give the character which is not present inside a string, then it will just print the original string for you. Suppose if you want to replace a particular word, then also you can do it with this string.replace method. You just have to pass in the word and its replacement, and it will print that particular replaced word for you in the particular string. So this is how replacing a string works in Python. Now let's take a look at how to split a string. Suppose if you want to split a string which is separated by a white space, then you can use string.split method, and by default string.split splits it by a white space. So in this case, you can see it will be converted to a list which is separated by a white space. In this case, suppose if I pass in a particular letter, then it will separate the string by a particular letter. As you can see in this case, it splits the string to the left hand side and to the right hand side of this particular A. So this is how splitting a string works. Now let's take a look at how to concatenate two strings. So in this case here I have two strings A and B. Suppose if I want to concatenate them, I'll simply use a plus operator in between them, and it will simply concat the string for me. As you can see, it concatenates string for me. Now suppose if I want a white space in between these two words, then I'll simply use a opening and closing empty space, and then I'll again use a plus operator. So in this case, it will be printed as space separated. As you can see in this output, this white space gets added. Suppose if I want to pass in some other character like underscore, then I can do that as well. It will print underscore in between these two strings. So this is how string concatenation works. Now let's take a look at very important part of the strings, that is formatting the strings. Now suppose if there is a case, if you want to concatenate a string to a number, and if you simply use a plus operator, then it will give an error to you, because it will say that you can only concatenate string to string, not int. So as you can see in this case, you are concatenating a string to an integer. That's why you have this error. So the correct way to fix this is by using a string function around that integer, and it will solve the purpose for you. So it will consider this number as a string while concatenation, and it will print that particular string for you. As you can see here, it correctly prints the number when you concatenate by using this string function. Now there is another way of doing this, is by using this string formatting. So for formatting the string, you just have to pass in opening and closing curly braces inside a string, and then you have to do string.format, and you have to pass in that particular number. So in this case, if you do this, it will print that number instead of this opening and closing curly braces. So as you can see here, it is printing your lucky number is 45. It's correctly working. Now let's take a look at one complex example of formatting a string. In this case, I have three variables in which two are integers and one is float. So if I want to print this, I'll simply use three curly braces. Here my string becomes I want dash number of pieces of item dash for dash dollars. And when you do the formatting here, you have to pass in the number of argument here should match the number of curly braces present inside the string. So in this case here, it will replace this curly braces with the quantity, this curly braces with item number, this curly brace with price. So this is how it works. And if I print it, this is how it will be printed. Suppose if I pass in only two arguments, then let's see what happens. As you can see, it throws an error because replacement index 2 out of range from positional argument tuple. That means the number of arguments which are in this format function should match this curly braces number inside the string. So if I again put a price here, it will again print that particular string correctly for me. Now suppose if here I want to put in the quantity, here I want to put in the item number, and here I want to put in price. Then in this case I will use this positioner arguments. So because this is 0, it will be replaced by the position, this quantity. Here this 1 will be replaced by this item number, and in this case this 2 will be replaced by this price. So in this output, as you can see, 49.95 will appear here in this position, as you can see in this output. So this is how you format the string. And there is another way of formatting the string is by using f inside the print function. So in this case, suppose here I have a value of pi here, which is very long value, and I want to print only up to 2 decimal places. Then here I will use print function, inside which I will use this f for formatting, and I'll pass in the curly braces, and I will just simply use pi colon dot 2f, that means up to second decimal place. So in this case it will just print 3.14 for me. As you can see here, it just prints 3.14. Now suppose if I use here dot 5f, then it will print up to fifth decimal position, as you can see. So this is how formatting a string works. Now let's take a look at how to escape the special characters. Now suppose if I want to have a string which contains a quotation marks. So in this case, if I use it like this, it will throw me an error saying that it is invalid syntax because you are defining a string with the double quotes and you are using double quotes inside a string, so it will be an invalid syntax. So in this case, if you want to use the quotes, you can simply use the single quotes here because it will work as expected. As you can see, there are quotes, single quotes around Python word. Now suppose if I want to have only double quotes around this Python word, then I have to escape this double quotes. And for escaping in Python, we have this special character called backslash. So this is how you escape the special character in Python. So in this case, I am escaping these double quotes. There are two double quotes, that's why I am using 2 times backslash, and it will print that particular string with double quotes around the Python word. So this is how you escape the characters in Python. So that's it about the strings in Python. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you found this video really helpful, you can consider liking this video, and please subscribe to my channel because more Python tutorials will be coming up your way. Thank you for watching.